Hi there, my name is Salman Shahi and I'm a composer and musician based in Toronto, Canada. This video is part of a series providing some basic guidelines to beginner to intermediate composers to better their craft and improve their compositional abilities. Since these videos need to be short and to the point, I will provide additional resources at the end if you wish to learn more about the concepts. In this episode, we're going to explore form and structure in music. So without further ado, let's jump right in. Form is one of the final things that a composer starts to gain control over in their compositional journey. It's rather abstract and it requires a lot of pre-planning and abstract thinking. And yet, when a piece has a solid structure and very smooth transitions, it really works with the audiences. Since this subject concerns the entirety of a piece of music, we wouldn't be able to have an example during this short video. However, at the end, I will provide a couple of listening exercises where you can identify overall form of a piece and also pivotal transitional moments. Musical structures can be reduced down to two very basic forms. Binary, which is A and then a B. Ternary, which is an A and a B and a return to A. Now, this is an admittedly reductionist categorization, but almost any form in music can at some point be reduced to these two. What makes an A section distinctive from a B section is the concept of contrast. Contrast doesn't necessarily have to mean a huge shift in musical atmosphere, but rather just a form of change or movement from one idea to the next. Knowing where, how, and when to place these contrasting ideas in your music will ensure that your music is feeling like it's evolving and also is engaging. We've all heard that piece that musical ideas seem to just go on forever without really turning into anything. Or we've also heard that piece of music that sections come one after the other without really developing and everything feels very rushed and impatient. The second key concept in creating a cohesive structure is the use of recurring musical ideas or motifs. A piece of music is like a tapestry woven together by its various ideas. Some are presented very clearly and explicitly, and some are purposefully hidden. The idea is that the flow of the music will provide the composer with different kinds of opportunities to present these ideas. This could be certain melodic gestures, rhythms, or even something as abstract as color. By allowing your motifs to appear in different circumstances and shades throughout your piece, you're allowing your music to develop and these motifs to be transformed into storytellers for your music. Now, this is something that an experienced composer plans very carefully before they put down even the first note on a piece of paper. Essentially, any moment in your music should be a derivative of one of your very limited musical motifs or ideas that keep referring us back and tying us back to that main idea. This will make sure that the basic concept of your piece is ever present throughout your music without making itself explicitly known. And finally, and most importantly, proportions. This is probably one of the most crucial and yet least discussed aspects of creating a successful form. Oftentimes, beginner composers create their pieces in a way that the various sections and their proportions in relation to each other or the entirety of the piece doesn't make a whole lot of logical sense. Let's say you have to write a 5-minute choral piece. Your intention is to have an opening that's angelic and slow and beautiful, and then a middle section that would be slightly shorter but darker color and goes into a different key maybe, and then you have the ending which comes back to the angelic section but maybe with slightly different chord progressions. Now I'm going to present you with two different scenarios here. Let's say that you decide that your first section should be 4 minutes long and then the remaining B and the A prime section would be about 30 seconds long each. Now for a 5-minute long piece, that opening would be far too long and the remaining two sections would be rushed and wouldn't have a chance to develop properly. Now here's a second scenario. Let's say that the beginning section would be about 2 to 2.5 minutes long, the middle section about 1 minute to 1.5 minutes, and whatever time remains gets dedicated to the return of the A idea. This way, each section would have its own time to develop and to properly and patiently come to a close. What I'm trying to convey here is that each section should be long enough that a musical idea can be introduced, it can be developed, and then it can come to a close in a musical and patient manner. Now, say your choral piece was supposed to be 20 minutes instead of 5 minutes. You can't just multiply everything by 4. You have to think about how each of these sections will fit into the larger piece. Also, if your choral piece was supposed to be 2 minutes instead of 5 minutes, again, that would radically shift your ideas about how long each of these proportions should be. And that will, in fact, change the way the listener will perceive your piece of music. Form and structure are very difficult and abstract concepts to master as a composer. But after paying attention to them more intently and making them part of your creative journey, they in turn improve your writing by a great deal. Now here's the exercise that I promised you. Listen to the following 2 pieces, 3 times each. Beethoven, Bagatelle in G minor, Opus 119, number 1. Bartók, 6 Dances in Bulgarian Rhythm, number 6. Now here's what I would like you to do with each of these listens. First listen is not analytical at all. You're simply allowing your ear to hear the music and for it to settle in your brain. On second listen, take notes on when a major section or a contrasting idea takes place. Make a note of its time code. At the end of the piece, collect the different lengths of each sections and compare them with one another. Also, compare them to the entirety of the length of the piece. And the third lesson would be reserved for seeing how a composer is moving between one section to the next. Try to write down a few words describing how these transitions between different sections are happening. Is it a change in tempo? Is it a reduction of dynamics? Is it gradually introducing a new chord, pitch, or rhythm? Also take note in what aspects of the music change in these contrasting sections. Did they have any relationship to one another at all, or were they completely different? Now, by doing this exercise, you're working on your analytical ear, and you are allowing yourself to understand the inner workings of being a composer. That's it for today's video. If you have any comments, thoughts, or ideas, I'm happy to chat with you in the comment section below. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe, and also share this video with a friend who you think might enjoy it. In the next episode, we're going to discuss engraving and making your scores look professional, so be sure to tune in. Thanks again, and see you soon.